Could somebody please tell me why you would have a massive, giant, 4K, beautiful flat screen TV in the one place you should be striving to do everything in your power to never have anyone be, your waiting room? And then you go into the exam room, your bread and butter, pride and joy, and you see these cabinets from the 1980s. Nothing's been updated, boring paint, and these itsy bitsy little computer screens that you're trying to get somebody engaged with treatment. You're trying to give the upper hand to your TC to close the deal at the highest level. And as people are shopping around, that doesn't make you unique. Why would you ever spend money on a big screen TV in the waiting room and have these itsy bitsy screens inside your exam room? It makes no sense. And we're going to talk about that on this episode of the New Patient Group podcast, as well as some things that you can do to bring that immersive experience into the exam room to give your practice the upper hand for that treatment conversion and make sure people buy from you rather than somebody else. And it's going to all be talked about today on another episode of the New Patient Group podcast.
The time for real change is now. When tough times test us, we overcome. When hardship hits us, we persevere. We innovate. We transform. If you're ready to achieve something special, buckle up and get ready for the ride of your life. Welcome to Season 8 of the New Patient Group audio experience, a podcast dedicated to revolutionizing lives, careers, and business, so you, your team, and your practice forever flourish in the new economy. And now, your host. He's a husband, father of two, a founder and CEO of New Patient Group and Wright, faculty for Align Technology, and a trusted speaker for Invisalign and OrthoFi, Brian Wright.
Hey, New Patient Group and Wright Chat Nation, welcome inside the broadcast booth. Brian Wright here, and welcome in to another edition of the New Patient Group podcast. Hope you're doing great out there. And as you listened in the intro, hopefully, for any of you that may have that scenario, hopefully you've already changed your mindset and go, geez, what am I doing? It is amazing over the years how many practices that I've been into, and this is exactly what you see. You see so much effort and energy put into the place that you should be putting all of your effort and energy into ensuring they never have to sit there. And that's the waiting room, right? Why would you want to invest $5,000 in a massive flat screen TV that goes in your waiting room and then walk into your exam room and it look like it's built in the 80s? This is also what drives me nuts about so many of you out there that think the problems can be solved by dumping $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month into pay-per-click or muffin drops or, billboard and radio. And then you call your practice and nobody answers during regular business hours, or they show up to your practice and these are the kinds of things they see, with a practice that looks like yesterday's news and not given the proper tech forward, showcase that you should, and then wonder why your conversion's down and therefore your solution is just dump more money in advertising. Right? I mean, it all comes full circle, and so much of you out there could reduce your advertising, hopefully to the point where you don't have to, if you just rethink the way the things are inside your doors. I think all of you should have, and we're going to kind of walk through this immersive experience journey, if you will. One of your goals, all of you out there, should always be, how can I create an immersive experience? Meaning, how can I make this not feel healthcare? How can I take people out of their realm, kind of a moment of virtual reality? How can I do that from the aesthetics of the outside of my building to when you walk through the door, to all the different ways I can, not have a front desk, have a concierge stand there, all these different ways that you can be different than the rest of the opinions. And you've got to be in a mindset place where you're constantly going, okay, at this given moment in time, if somebody went to practice A, practice B, And then they came to me, practice C. At this given moment in time, am I unique? Am I different? Am I forward thinking? Do I come across as the innovator, the tech forward practice? Right. And you should be doing that and mapping that out, because that's what we do. It's what we teach, the consumer journey. It's never about one thing. Just like today is never about just what I'm talking about today. But this is an easy fix. All of you out there should have beautiful smartboard monitors that you can draw on, that you can take screenshots and send things home with people, that you can engage people with. And that is one of, among many other ways, is that you increase conversion at a higher price. You have to have showcase tools. And if you're trying to get people, regardless of the doctor you are out there, if you're trying to get people to see value in your treatment plan, if you're trying to get people to see more value in you than what could be the same treatment plan as the other two doctors, the other two opinions, these are the type things that you have to be thinking about. And when you walk into a practice with a waiting room that looked like it came out of the 90s, and then you have this massive flat screen TV, yet then when you look in your exam room, you've got these cupboards from the 1980s, 1990s, these old school desks, these computers that look like you're back in the 1990s, these little tiny presentation screens, you're screwing yourself, everybody. And for many of you, the mindset, especially if this is the first podcast you've ever listened to, you may be going, well, yeah, dude, easy for you to say, but those things are like, a used one is $1,000, $2,000, dollars. And then the new one is $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. And I say to you is that, and this is the same thing that we teach, is that is why you have to separate costs from investment. Because if something is $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 as a cost, that's just going to help you stay open today, that's expensive. If you look at something that is going to produce a return, just like a stock would, and it's going to produce a return on more starts through a better experience, representing your brand, as all those things I said, tech forward, innovative, forward thinker, because all of those things we have to understand is as those images are being built in people's mind, they are going to assume you're the better clinician. You're more up to date, you're more hip, you're more innovative, those kind of things, right? If you're building the image in people's mind that way about your business, they are going to assume that your practice is that way too. Hey everybody, Brian Wright here. Let's step away from today's podcast. Hope you're enjoying it. And I want to throw an actionable item at you, as I want you to make 2025 the year you really implemented this immersive change. I want you to become a part of our mastermind group, and I'm going to give you a 30% discount for your first year. We do not do discounts. I teach you all not to do discounts, but there are certain times that I feel the timing is right. And I want all of you out there that you listen to the podcast, you follow us, you follow our ideas. I want you to take action and become part of the most forward-thinking group out there. And I want you to come aboard. And we've got amazing on-demand courses that you'll get access to. You'll get access to our live boot camps with Coach Eric and myself, where we really coach you through a lot of these. Our second Wednesday of every month, Zoom sessions with our doctors, our in-person event that we have every single year. You'll have special invites to our MPG Iconic event and a lot more. And I want to welcome you into our MPG Mastermind. Make this year real change for your practice, your business, and yourself. And we look forward to it. Just scan the code that we have on the screen on our YouTube station. I'll also put the link in the description below. Become part of the New Patient Group Mastermind in 2025. And now let's get back to today's episode. So yeah, is it cheap? No, but when it produces a higher conversion rate because you're engaging people and you're increasing sales through experience, then it's not that expensive, right? It's going to pay for itself. And these presentation tools in your exam room, I mean, think about it, everybody. Think how crazy it is that especially if you're going to be going, oh my God, you're right. If you're a practice that is set up this way, how crazy is it for you to have a 60, 70, 80-inch flat screen TV in your waiting room, and then you go into an outdated exam room that's got an itsy-bitsy little computer screen that you're trying to get engagement on? It's asinine, everybody. This is how And like I said, it's never about one thing, but if you're asking yourself, why is my conversion down? Why are my referrals down? Why aren't my numbers up? These are the things that go into it. Like, you can't want to be an immersive experience practice. And that's what we teach, right? Everything is supposed to represent you as a people business, as a famous hospitality business that happens to offer orthodontics. It's not the other way around. Like, you can't jam that into a packed orthodontic, dentistry, plastic surgery, et cetera. You can't jam experience into a packed, busy schedule, right? You've got to jam the orthodontics, as example, into the experience, right? And that's why, and I've got plenty of podcasts in the future, but that's why scheduling templates are a joke, because what the scheduling templates, do they ever take into account the hospitality, people side of your business? Of course they don't. Right. And that's what they all should take into account as numero uno, right? Is when patients walk through the door, is the schedule designed to ensure they're greeted right when they walk through the door and never have to sit, right? That's one example of 100 I could give, right? But that's not how most of your scheduling templates work. And that's one of many reasons scheduling templates are a thing of the past. If you're doing remote monitoring and high share to chair clear liners, et cetera, you don't need scheduling templates. It's a way of the past. But back to this, like, you can think about and make this as an easy switch. Go out and invest and make sure that your exam room has the immersive feel. Like, if you look at your furniture, right, so many of you, I go in there and you've got this outdated clinic chair. Go get a modern looking chair, that's 3/4 laid back, that's nice and comfortable, that somebody could sit in. You can do your exam there. It's better to scan, when people are about 3/4 back, you're going to get a more true bite. So it actually gives you a better iTero scan, right? Your mandibular changes when you lay completely flat, but that's how most people scan. You want to sit that person either totally upright or a little bit lean back, like I said, so you can get, a love seat, have a nice little, sectional couch in there with a modern chair and beautiful coffee table. A big whiteboard, flat screens, 60, 70, 80 inch on the wall. Your TC can be working off a simple little laptop. It doesn't, gut out your desk in there, everybody, and all your cupboards and everything. Put some floating shelves in there, for your tooth models and your scan box, demo that you're going to talk about in the exam room on there. Please, everybody, change the way your exam room looks. Make it more of an immersive feel. And part of this immersive feel has got to be get your itsy bitsy little outdated monitors out of there. And let's bring in your 80 inch in the waiting room. Go rip that off the wall and come put it into your exam room. But even better, get a beautiful smartboard monitor. Right? These are the things that are true advertising that really represent your brand, that will increase your conversion. It will bring that immersive feel, and it's all about being that people business first. All right. So these are things you got to pay attention to, because believe me, the consumer pays attention to everything, right? You got a little crooked picture on the wall in the waiting room. If you have an engineer sitting in there that brought their kid in, the engineer is going to be thinking, well, they can't get the picture straight. How can I trust them to straighten my kid's teeth? People think about everything. It's really amazing how many practices I've been into, and you can tell that they don't think about everything. You go into the exam room, and this so much goes into this immersive experience or lack thereof, and whether or not somebody's going to buy from you. Going back to getting into the head of who you're trying to get to buy from you and how they are thinking about everything. I have seen so many exam rooms where, the doctor is presenting and their back is to the family, or, they're turning their body depending on who they want to talk to. It's just the setup of the room doesn't make sense. It's like one of the hardest things to do. Most of you out there know I love cooking, and one of the most difficult things to do is to cook at a high level in somebody else's kitchen. It's like you're going on the road and playing in a brand new sports stadium for the very first time. The first time you face that crowd and the loudness you can't appreciate till you do. And then, the locker room's different and everything. Cooking in somebody else's kitchen is really hard because most people, especially those that don't cook or cook at a high level, their kitchen is just all over the place. It doesn't make sense. And it makes it really difficult to cook a meal at a really high level if that's how you're used to doing it. And I see this this could be a podcast for other things about just the way things are set up in general. But just obviously back to the exam room, these are things you have to think about. When you scan with the iTero machine, this is an actual podcast that I want to do, and it's in the notes. But when you scan, you have to make sure that the parent is part of that scan and they can see the scan happening and the TC's engaging the parent with the wand in the kid's mouth. You can't have the scan, you can't have a parent sitting behind the scan to where they can't see what's happening. Right? That is part of the immersive experience that the other practices likely are not going to offer. If you're going to use the scanner inside the exam room, you've got to have it in a position where everybody can see it if that's going to be your presentation tool. Ideally, you screencast it or you log into your doctor's site and it's up on your big smartboard monitor that we're talking about, or TV monitor. And there's so many cool features that the iTero machine has that for whatever reason, even Invisalign doesn't teach it. We're going to have a podcast. I don't know when it's going to be. I hope it's this season. It has not been shot, but it's how to turn your iTero machine into a smartboard whiteboard monitor. And there's a way to do it, and it's really, really cool. It's an amazing education tool. It's an amazing way to get people to focus, because one of all of your goals out there should be to learn ways to keep people focused on the education that you're providing. Now, again, all this goes into it. It's the immersive feel. It's the look and feel. It's like what I'm talking about right now. Like, you can't have a monitor up and have it be behind where somebody's sitting. Or again, these outdated clinic chairs that take up, 10 feet of unnecessary space when you could just get a really beautiful back to the furniture in there. These are the things that you have to be thinking about. You have to be thinking about it, everyone. It just goes back. I said it earlier. If you've got outdated cabinets, you think that the exam room is all about showing people the tooth models and discussing their need instead of their want. And again, it's not that you don't discuss the need, but until people are bought in to why you're the place to buy what they want, they don't give a damn about what they need. That's just the art of sales. And that is why even your doctor exam, everybody, the majority of what you're doing is sales. It's education. It's presentation. It has nothing to do with dentistry, orthodontics, et cetera, at all, or little at all. It has everything to do with your presentation skills, your communication skills, your hospitality skills, your sales skills, et cetera. Because even the part that is heavy, orthodontics, dentistry, whatever, when you are talking that clinical need and functionality and those type things, how you're speaking about those things and how you're educating those things, that is a communication, verbiage, presentation skill set, right? You could know everything about the clinical world. You could be, and you hear me teach this all the time on here, you could be the smartest clinician of all time. But if you don't know how to communicate it in a way that's going to keep people focused, if you don't know how to educate in a way that's going to engage people to see the value, right? You are going to lose again to that clinician that may not be as good as you, may not be as smart as you, doesn't do as good a work as you. But if they are experts at that sales, presentation, hospitality, communication, all the things we are experts in that we teach all over the world and just happen to have a niche in orthodontics and beyond, dentistry and beyond, if you are not an expert in those things, you will lose. You will absolutely lose. And that's why, of course, a lot of your exam is dentistry, is orthodontics. Of course it is. But when you speak the words, that part of it doesn't have anything to do with dentistry or orthodontics, right? Of course, you have to have the knowledge, but the key is how you are articulating this stuff. And that's a big part of the exam too, not the topic today, but just again, to plant the seed in your mind and how important these things are. But you've going back to just this last point is that you've just got to think about everything. Does it flow right? Can the family sit there and see the TV, see the iTero scan? Are you truly digitalizing the experience? If you do have, and you shouldn't, but if you do have the parent in another room, while you're scanning the kid, are you screencasting that scan up to a big smartboard monitor where in the exam room where you left the parent? There's so many things that you can do to just immersify this whole exam room experience to be unique and better. And as a result, you will see an increase in conversion. You've got to have that room, like I said, like earlier, the furniture and the TV monitors, all that stuff, yes, but you've just got to think about everything in there. Where are people going to sit and how's their experience and what they're viewing? Where are you going to stand or where are you going to sit? Wherever it is, it's all got to be mapped out. And if it is, you're going to stop screwing yourself, everybody. You're going to see the conversions go up and at a higher price. Yes, even in a down economy, you're going to see these things go up if you have all these in place. But you must think about all these intangibles and think experience first. And if you do, all these cool ideas, what you're listening to today, but also all these other cool ideas are going to pop into your mind about what we can do to enhance the experience of our customer, our patient, or those that we want to be our customers and our patient. And it's going to do great things for you. Make sure that journey is immersive. Switch out your computer screen for a massive flat screen on your wall, ideally a smartboard monitor. Rip out your outdated clinic chair. Get some immersive modern furniture in there, make it look like a modern living room, and really separate yourself from the other opinions because you're thinking people, business, hospitality, and experience first, and it's going to transform your starts. Hope everybody enjoyed this one. As always, give us a nice thumbs up on YouTube. Share this with your colleagues. Doctors, share this with at least one colleague of yours. Reps out there, please share this with your doctors. And until next time, thanks so much for listening. We'll see everybody soon.